Hi, everyone. My name is Nakia White, and I am a clinical social worker, a psychotherapist, and a self care accountability coach, stress manager, strategist. I kind of play around with a couple of different titles, but I really do feel like ultimately my work is pretty much the same and consistent across the board. I realize that I specialize in supporting people with their self care goals and their journeys. And I also teach a lot about anxiety because I really believe that there's a relationship between the two. One affects the other in either direction you go. And so a lot of the content that I produce here on social media more than likely is going to be about one of those two topics, whether it's some aspect of self care and the challenges around trying to improve your own self care, or talking about anxiety, a little bit about the brain and how it's either getting in the way of your self care goals or how we can understand anxiety to leverage how the brain works so it can bring you closer to where you want to go. So I was doing Monday motivational videos, and I think now I want to kind of play around with doing lives. It has been a while since I've done a live on Facebook, so if I'm a little bit, scruffy and make mistakes here or there, contributed to the nerves, I've accepted that might happen, and it's okay. But it feels good to be back here on live, and hopefully, I know probably most people are at work, but I also know a good amount of people may not be at work, and that these lives, whether you're actually watching it as it's happening or you're watching the replay, that somehow the information that's shared here can be helpful and beneficial to you. So if you want to learn a little bit more about what I do, I at the end of this live, I'm going to make sure I put my website down. But my website is connectwithnakia.com. On there, you can learn a little bit more about my philosophy around self care, around anxiety, and I actually specialize in supporting people also around emotional eating, which goes into both of those topics automatically. But to kind of get my feet wet in doing lives, I'm jumping back on the bandwagon, and it's the new year. Feels good to be back in 2023. And since it's the new year, I wanted the first topic that I covered to be about New Year's resolutions. Should we still do them? I feel like for the past 2 years, I've heard a lot of people talk about New Year's resolutions and how they're not going to do them. They're not really about them because, they don't want to really be a part of the hype. Everyone gets so excited about all these goals just because it's the new year. They're just feeding off the hype of the energy. And then pretty much by President's Day or Martin Luther King's birthday, everyone has fallen off their goals. And so some people said, look, I don't even want to bother doing all that. I'll do what I do when I do it. And so I definitely can understand that. And ultimately, I feel like it's kind of a protection of disappointment to not being able to follow through on whatever New Year's goals and resolutions you set. Because if you set New Year's resolution goals and knew for a fact that you were going to achieve them, you would set them every single year. But I think most of the time when people said, look, I've given up setting New Year's resolution goals, I feel like most of the time it's a self protective barrier around not disappointing themselves when they fall off. And so I wanted to broach the topic, should we still do them? Well, I'm going to be honest, just speaking from my perspective, I think that there actually is, that they still can be worth it. Of course, anything is what you make it. But I do think there's something powerful about starting a new year and it automatically putting you in a place of being self reflective over where you've been and also thinking about where you want to go. The truth is, the top of the new year, as well as your birthday, which I call people's personal New Year's, they are technically a new chapter in your life. The chapter of 2016 is not the same as the chapter of 2017. The chapter of 26 is not the same as the chapter of 27, or in my case, 40. So every time it is a new year, or every time it's your birthday, you technically are entering into a new chapter in your life. And so I think it's something extremely powerful to ask, what do I want to create for myself in this new chapter? In fact, if I'm not proactive in writing this chapter for me, life is going to write the chapter, and I may not like where this story goes. So I do think that it's worth that when the new year is starting, that we take a proactive approach to our lives by determining what do I want to create for myself in this new chapter, in this new year. By the time this chapter ends by Christmas, which we all know is going to be here before we know it, what do I want to have seen increase in my life that's not there now? Or what do I want to see eliminated from my life that is here and I want it to go? I want to set the intention on how I want to get closer to those goals before this chapter closes and a new one starts again, because this happens every single year. So, in this live, I really want to encourage people to see it from that perspective. Not just, okay, you know what, this is New Year's resolutions, it's New Year, let me just kind of hop on the bandwagon. Every single business is throwing all these amazing deals at you because they know people are wanting to jump on the bandwagon, but only seeing it as a very temporary period in which I focus on goals. And then once life happens, once the stresses of life starts knocking me down, I forget about those goals. And now the only goal for the rest of the year is just trying to survive, right? I really want to say New Year's resolutions are worth it because it gives you an opportunity as the author of your life to set intentions to decide what I want to create for myself in this new year. It was just 2019. It was just 2020. It was just 2021. It was just 2022. It's now 2023. And one thing that I feel like is becoming true for myself as I'm getting older is that the older I become, the faster time seems to move. And so if time is moving that fast and if time is not waiting for anyone, I don't want to take the chance of waiting life to happen for me. I want to be intentional about creating that life for myself. And so when the new year comes, I get to ask myself, what do I want to create for myself this year? In other words, I want to be honest about myself about what my self care goals are. What do I want my goals to be? Most of the time, these goals are related to self care because they're about what you want to do for yourself to improve your own quality of life. It's really not about anyone else. It's really a personal resolution to yourself about what you want to do to enhance the quality of your life. And because you're always going to be in relationship with yourself, you should always be reviewing that relationship and finding out what can I do to improve it. Any relationship expert and coach, which I definitely am not, would encourage you to do is you and your partner should constantly reflect on how your relationship is going, just to see ways that you can continue to improve it, because the stronger that relationship is, the happier you are with your partner. Well, the truth is, the very first relationship any of us have been in is actually a relationship with ourselves. We haven't really recognized it as that, but our relationship with ourselves is one relationship we should always be working on strengthening, because we will always be with ourselves. And not only that, every relationship in our life is slightly a mirror of that relationship with self. So when we create New Year's resolutions or self care goals, what we're really trying to do is I'm trying to strengthen my relationship with myself, with the being that I am. So that way I will feel better about myself, I will do better, and ironically will have a better impact on other people as well. Everyone benefits. So I say New Year's resolutions are worth it. Now, in the upcoming live videos that I'm going to do, I'm going to review certain mindsets to encourage you to stick to those resolutions. One of the biggest concerns is, but am I going to follow through? Am I going to stick to these New Year resolutions? By the time it's June 21st, am I still going to be working on these goals? Well, in the upcoming live that I do, I'm actually going to address certain mindsets that can get in the way of sticking to your resolutions, or I will discuss how anxiety starts playing a role, because that's really what gets people off. It's the role of anxiety in some way, shape, or form that gets us thrown off the way. Either life is starting to become so anxiety filled that it's hard to hold on to these proactive goals, and now I'm just trying to react to life, or the actual goals themselves, as much as I would love how they'll benefit me, something about those goals actually activate my anxiety system and makes me want to back away. So in the future lives that I will be doing, I will be discussing some of the things that you can do to try to hold on to those resolutions and let 2023 be the year you actually start seeing yourself hit some of those goals, so that your relationship with yourself strengthens. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of this live. It's a very short live. More than likely, as I continue to do more and more lives, they'll be a little bit longer. Um, I want to let everyone know, because I am really committed to wanting to see people reach their goals. I really am going to create a self-care accountability support group. This group will not start until February. I don't even want it to start in January. I actually want to wait until motivation really starts becoming a challenge for people, and then start this group, because in this group you'll have an opportunity to meet with me as well as other peers of your own, every other week, twice a month, at least for 60 minutes, to discuss your goals and discuss where you're getting challenges, and to get direct support with me to help you stick with this goal. It will be a 6-month support group. I'll have a private Facebook group to go with it. Each week, you'll get some encouraging notes and messages from me. And also, within the Facebook support group, you'll also have an opportunity to get support on a daily basis through the Facebook group as needed, plus 2 live sessions that are virtual, where not only myself but also other powerful women will be able to encourage one another to stick to these goals. There's no way you're going to be in a group like this from February all the way to August and not see some major improvement in your life in whatever area you're wanting to work on. So I am just starting to introduce this as the Self-Care Accountability Support Group. If you're interested, I'm going to leave my information for that group, or to ask any questions. You can give me a direct call to my business cell phone number. I'll answer any questions you might have around how you can get connected. Also, if you actually would be interested in therapy services, if you're in the DMV area, meaning DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and you're interested in therapy and would like to just ask a little bit more questions with me or have a consultation call, I invite you to call the number that I will leave at the end of this video. And last but certainly not least, if you're interested in not just in the group coaching, but maybe individual coaching, maybe you are in the DMV area or you don't live in the DMV area, and you would like an opportunity to have some individualized support around a particular goal that you would like, also, you can give me a call. Thank you so much for whoever's watching this, whoever tuned in, for us to start. Every Monday, I'm going to pop on here and provide some type of support around what your goals are. I really want to see people come into contact and discover what they are actually capable of. We all underestimate ourselves way too much. We define ourselves too often by our failures and don't actually tap into what potentially is within us if we don't give up. So thank you so much. Happy New Year's. It feels great to be back. And I will be seeing you next Monday. Have a great day.